Hi, my name's Akash, and in today's video I'm going to show you how you can correctly expose your clips. To do this, we'll be using the video scope in Final Cut Pro, but the same principles apply in other video editing software. I often correct my exposure before adjusting the colors, but you can tweak this as and when you go along. Right, now we're in Final Cut Pro and I want to show you a live example on a video I'm currently working on. So we have the red markers here on these clips, and I think those are perfect examples to show you how to expose your footage. So just starting with the first one, to open up your video scope, which is the main tool we're using, you go to View and Video Scope, click here. You can also type Command 7 as the shortcut. Now once you're here, you'd see the waveform which shows how your video is exposed. As you see the video move, the waves also move. So choose a point of the video you want to expose. And the main principle here, just before we get started, you want to keep your highlights under 100 and you want to keep your shadows above 0. Those are the two guidelines you want to keep your waveforms within. Otherwise it will be overexposed or underexposed. The middle part is where you want to keep your midtones. So our aim is to stretch the waveforms as much as possible, but keeping them within the boundaries of the 0 and 100. So taking this as a first example, as you can see the waveforms are a bit lower and I want to get them up to 100. So I'm going to increase, just showing you here, it's the highlight, and I want to increase this and get it as close to the 100 mark as possible. Now we see with the shadows, I want to get them as close to this 0 line. So I'm going to click on my shadows and bring it down just a tad. Just showing you the before and after. You can see it just adds a bit of a punch to your clip. And I think this works well before you start adjusting colors. Moving on to the second clip now, which looks a bit flat and washed out. So I just want to choose this part of the clip. As we can see, we don't need to be touching our highlights because it's already close to the 100 mark. But if we look at our shadows, I think we can bring this down a bit more. So I'm going to be bringing down the shadows until it reaches that line. I'm also happy with my midtones because the bulk of these waves are around the 50 mark, as you can see here. So just showing a before and after, I'm quite happy with that. Moving over to an iPhone shot. Now with all new iPhones, they have a HDR mode, which Final Cut Pro won't recognize. So what you would need to do is you type in HDR just in the bottom right corner, and here's a overlay which you can add on. I won't add it because I've already put it on this clip. Just go into effects and you click on HDR. As you can see, it automatically corrects it. The option you want to choose is HLG to Rec.709 SDR. So now we've added this overlay just to fix that overexposed clip. Let's start with the basics. Go into my color board. I can see I don't need to touch the shadows on this part because the waveforms they're quite low. But as you can see with the highlights, I do need to bring it up a bit. So choosing my highlights, I'm going to stretch it up just a tad. There's not much to correct here as iPhone footage, I think it's well exposed within the iPhone, so not much needs to be done. So just showing the before and after. Not much needs to be done here, but again, you want it at this point before you start adjusting the colors. Now, just going on to my final clip, this is a very contrasty iPhone shot. So first things first, let's put on our HDR tool just to put that overlay on. And as you can see here, we don't need to be adding any more shadows to this as it's already close to that 0 mark. However, it can do with some stretching to the highlights. So getting the highlight tool on the color board and bringing it up so the middle of the wavelengths are just under the 100 mark. I'm happy with that, but personally I do want this to be a bit of a moody shot. So I'm going to bring down those shadows just a bit more. Right, just showing the before and after. One more time, before and after. I think I'm happy with that. I think we're done here. I've shown you 4 examples of how to correctly expose your clip from a standard mirrorless camera and an iPhone shot. So hopefully this will help you when you're correcting your footage. But just to recap, the main tool you want to use is called Video Scope. The principle you want to follow is keep your highlights under 100 and your shadows above 0. Your midtones, you want to rest around the 50 mark and make sure you're stretching those waveforms as much as you can. Of course, all clips are different, but these are the general guidelines you can use when you're correcting your clip. I think that's it from me today. I hope this tutorial was useful for you. But please let me know in the comment section below if you found it helpful or if there's anything else you want to see from my channel. Thanks for watching.